I never expected to hear her voice again. Not after 9 years. Not after everything they did to me. But there it was, ringing in my ears. Cold, desperate, and laced with the arrogance that had defined my childhood. "Marina, we need to talk. It's about the family. It's urgent." I almost laughed. The family? The same people who had treated me like an afterthought my entire life? The same parents who never missed a chance to remind me that my sister, Serena, was their pride and joy while I was just an accident they had the misfortune of keeping? I should have hung up right then. But something in Serena's tone caught my attention. It wasn't just desperation. It was fear, and that's what made me stay on the line. "Mom and Dad are in trouble," she continued. "It's bad, Marina. They need help." I rolled my eyes, already regretting answering the call. "Oh, you mean the same people who kicked me out when I refused to be your personal maid? The same parents who watched you steal my boyfriend and told me to get over it? Marina, please." "Save it, Serena. I don't owe any of you anything." I was about to hang up when she said something that made my blood run cold. "It's not just them. It's your money, too." My grip tightened on the phone. "What are you talking about?" she exhaled shakily. "Dad used your name. Years ago, when they started having money problems. A pit opened in my stomach. Used my name how? They took out loans, big ones, in your name." The room seemed to spin. No, that wasn't possible. I hadn't had contact with them since I left. I had worked my way up from nothing, first surviving on sheer grit, then finding a stable job, then finally becoming financially independent. There was no way they could have, unless a memory flashed in my mind. My father making me sign something for legal reasons when I was 18, telling me it was just a formality. I hadn't questioned it. I had been too naive, too trusting, and now years later that trust had come back to destroy me. "How much?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Serena hesitated. 300,000. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. "What?" "They took out multiple loans over the years, kept rolling them over. Then they invested in a real estate deal that, well, it collapsed. Now they can't pay and the collectors are coming after you." "It's all in your name, Marina." I gripped the edge of my desk, my breathing shallow. This wasn't just some petty plea for help. This was fraud. And if the banks came knocking, I could be held responsible. Suddenly, my plan to ignore my family forever wasn't an option anymore. I had to go back, but not to help them. No, this time I was going back to burn their house of lies to the ground. I arrived in Belhaven with a storm raging in my chest. The town looked the same, but everything inside me had changed. The moment I stepped onto my parents' crumbling front porch, I could smell the decay of their finances, their power, their lies. Serena opened the door, looking thinner than I. Remembered. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by a wrinkled blouse and dark circles under her eyes. "Marina," she breathed, almost as if she couldn't believe I was real. I pushed past her into the house. It was a mess. Furniture missing, stacks of unpaid bills on the dining table, the smell of cheap takeout lingering in the air. And there they were, my parents, sitting stiffly in the living room, their faces carved with worry. My father's once proud posture was slumped, his skin sickly pale. My mother barely met my eyes. "Marina, Dad started, but I cut him off. Is it true?" My voice was sharp. "Did you really take out $300,000 in my name?" Silence. Then my mother burst into tears. "We didn't have a choice," she sobbed. "We had to keep Serena in private school. Your father's business was struggling and we thought—" "You thought what?" I snapped. "That I wouldn't find out. That you could ruin my life and I'd never notice?" "It wasn't supposed to turn out this way," my father muttered. "We were going to pay it back." I let out a bitter laugh. "Oh, I'm sure. Right after you bought Serena her new car, or took her on another European vacation." Serena winced. "Marina, we were young. We didn't know—" "Stop," I said sharply. "Just stop." My pulse pounded in my ears. The betrayal was suffocating. And then something clicked. Serena knew. She knew before she called me. I turned on her. "How long have you known?" Her eyes darted away. "A few years? A few years?" My hands clenched into fists. I had spent the past decade struggling, thinking I was finally free from them, while all this time my sister had been sitting on the truth. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. I needed to be smart. What exactly did you invest in? I asked. My father swallowed hard. It was real estate, a new development, the kind that was supposed to double our money overnight, except it didn't. He nodded, shame creeping into his face. Something wasn't adding up. I could feel it. Who convinced you to invest? I pressed. Silence. Then, Serena's husband. The air left my lungs. What? My mother sniffled. It was Justin's idea. He said he had an insider deal. We trusted him. I felt like the ground had disappeared beneath me. Serena's husband, Justin, was a financial analyst. Or at least, that's what he claimed to be, if he was involved. This wasn't just a failed investment, this was a scam. A scam that had been carefully orchestrated by my own in-laws. And somehow, I was the one holding the bag. I sat in my parents' crumbling living room, staring at them like they were strangers. Maybe they always had been. Serena's husband, Justin, had orchestrated this? It made sense. The missing money, the fake investments, the sudden collapse. Justin wasn't some clueless investor who got unlucky. He was a financial analyst. He knew exactly what he was doing, and now my name was the one drowning in debt. I exhaled slowly, keeping my voice even. Let me get this straight. You funneled money, under my name, into some shady real estate deal. And Justin, your trusted son-in-law, was the one who convinced you? My father flinched at my tone. It was supposed to be a guaranteed return, a high-yield opportunity. I let out a bitter laugh. And where is Justin now? Serena swallowed hard. He left a few months ago. I froze. What? He disappeared, she whispered, voice cracking. Took off. No contact. No forwarding address, nothing. A cold realization settled over me. Justin hadn't lost money. He'd stolen it. This wasn't just financial stupidity. This was fraud. My mother wiped her tear-streaked face. We didn't know what to do. We thought maybe he'd come back, but now the collectors are after us. They're after you. That was all I needed to hear. I stood up, grabbing my coat. Where are you going? Serena asked. I turned to her, my blood burning with rage. To fix the mess you let happen. She followed me out the door, desperate now. Marina, please. We didn't mean for this to happen to you. You have to understand. I don't have to understand anything. I whirled on her. You knew for years that my name was being used. You let them screw me over while you enjoyed every luxury they bought for you. Her lips parted, but no words came. Because she knew I was right. I shook my head. I'm done. Talking? You want to fix this? Help me find Justin. Her shoulders slumped. I don't know where he is. Then find out. I got into my car and drove straight to the only place that might have answers. The last company Justin worked for before he disappeared. The office building was one of those sleek, soulless corporate towers in the city. I walked through the glass doors, my heart pounding. At the reception desk, I forced a polite smile. Hi, I'm looking for information on a former employee, Justin Carter. The receptionist barely glanced up. He left 6 months ago. I leaned in. Any idea where he went? She sighed, finally looking at me. Who are you? I hesitated. His sister-in-law. Her expression darkened. Oh, something about the way she said it sent a chill up my spine. What does that mean? I asked. She lowered her voice. Look, I'm not supposed to say anything, but people are looking for him. Serious people. My stomach knotted. Like who? She glanced around, then whispered. Not just debt collectors, investors, people with money. My skin prickled. This was worse than I thought. Justin hadn't just scammed my family. He had scammed others. And if dangerous people were looking for him, it meant one thing. He had stolen from the wrong people. I leaned closer. Did he say anything before he left? She hesitated, then pulled a sticky note from her desk drawer. He used this number once. It's a burner phone. Maybe it still works. I took the note, my fingers shaking. Thanks. She gave me a wary look. Be careful. I walked out of the building, my heartbeat hammering. Justin was in deep trouble, and if I didn't get ahead of this, I would be too. Back at my apartment, I stared at the burner phone number, debating my next move. I could call him, demand answers, but that wasn't smart. If Justin was running, it meant he had something to hide. And if I wanted to find him first, I had to be strategic. I called Serena. She answered on the first ring. "Did you find something?" "I have a number," I said. "From one of his old co-workers. He's in trouble, Serena. More than we thought." A pause. "What do you mean?" I exhaled sharply. "I mean, he didn't just screw over our family. He scammed a lot of people, investors. The kind of people who don't just call debt collectors. The kind who send threats." She went silent. Could almost hear her brain catching up to the reality of the situation. Finally, she whispered, "What do we do?" I checked the clock. 10:47 p.m. I had a plan. We set a trap. The next morning I made the call. I dialed the burner number, putting the phone on speaker. It rang. Once, twice. Then, "Who is this?" I gripped the phone tightly. "You know exactly who this is, Justin." A long pause. Then, a sharp exhale. "Marina." His voice was calm. Too calm. Like he had expected this. I cut straight to the point. "Where's the money?" A slow chuckle. "Which money?" The rage in my chest flared. "Don't play games with me. The $300,000 you scammed out of my parents using my name. Where is it?" "Ah," he said smoothly. "That money." I waited. Finally, he spoke. "Well, Marina, the thing is," a smile crept into his voice, "there never was an investment. My blood ran cold." "What?" "You heard me." His voice was almost mocking. "I didn't lose the money in real estate, I took it. All of it. Your parents were easy marks, so desperate to save their lifestyle that they'd sign anything, even if it meant screwing over their own daughter." Chill ran down my spine. He had planned this from the start. Justin exhaled dramatically. "So tell me, Marina, what exactly do you plan to do about it?" I clenched my jaw. "You'll see." And I hung up. Justin thought he had won, but he had just made one huge mistake. He underestimated me. I stared at my phone, Justin's mocking words still ringing in my ears. There never was an investment. I gripped the edge of my desk, my nails digging into the wood. He had stolen the money, not lost it. Not gambled it away in a bad deal. He had deliberately scammed my parents, and by extension, me, then vanished, leaving me holding the bag. But what infuriated me the most? He thought he had won. He thought I'd give up, that I'd walk away like I always had, but this time I wasn't running. This time I was coming for him. I needed a plan, and I needed leverage. I called Serena. She picked up immediately, her voice tense. "Did you talk to him?" I exhaled sharply. "Yeah, and he just admitted everything." She sucked in a breath. "So, what do we do?" I hesitated. I didn't trust Serena, not completely. But for now, I needed her. "We find him," I said. "If he scammed my parents, who else did he scam? There has to be a trail." A long silence. Then, quietly, "I might know where to start." I sat up. "Go on?" She cleared her throat. Before Justin disappeared, he was getting weird calls. He'd step outside to take them, always looking over his shoulder. One night I overheard him saying something about a final payout. My pulse quickened. "Did he mention a name?" Serena hesitated. "Just one. Leon. Leon." I didn't recognize the name, but I knew someone who might. "Send me everything you have on Justin. Old bank statements, messages, anything. I'll handle the rest." Serena sounded doubtful. "You think you can find him?" A slow smile crept onto my lips. "Oh, I know I can." I drove straight to the one person who might have answers. Devin Cross, a private investigator, former debt collector, and someone who owed me a favor. I found him in his usual haunt, a rundown boxing gym on the edge of Meridian City. He was in the ring, throwing punches at a heavy bag when he saw me. "Marina." He wiped his face with a towel. "Didn't think I'd see you again." I crossed my arms. "I need information." He smirked. "You always do." I tossed a photo of Justin onto the bench. "Find him." Devin glanced at it, then back at me. "What's the story?" "He scammed my parents out of $300,000, then disappeared." Devin whistled. "Damn. And you want revenge?" I shook my head. "I want justice." He studied me for a moment, then nodded. "All right, I'll run his name through my contacts. Give me 24 hours. I handed him an envelope with cash. "Make it 12. 12 hours later, my phone buzzed. Devin. I answered immediately. Talk to me? His voice was sharp. Got a hit. Your boy Justin? He's hiding out in Miami. Miami. So he hadn't gone far. Where exactly? I asked. Devin chuckled. That's the fun part. He's living under a fake name. Rented a high-rise condo under Jason Clark. Of course he was. And the name Leon? I pressed. Leon Vargas. Loan shark. And not the friendly kind. I felt a chill. Justin hadn't just stolen from my family. He had stolen from people who wouldn't hesitate to make him disappear. If Leon was looking for him, Justin was running out of time, which meant I had leverage. I thanked Devin and hung up. Then I booked the next flight to Miami. The next evening, I was standing outside Justin's high-rise condo, my heart hammering. I had spent years being pushed aside, ignored, betrayed. Not this time. This time, I was in control. I knocked on the door. Silence. I knocked again, harder. Then footsteps. A pause. And finally, the door cracked open. Justin's face appeared, and for the first time, he looked afraid. Marina? His voice wavered. I smirked. Surprised to see me? He swallowed, glancing over his shoulder like someone might be watching. What are you doing here? I pushed past him into the condo. Floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive furniture, a luxury penthouse, paid for with stolen money. I turned to him. Nice place. Who's paying for it? His jaw tightened. You shouldn't be here. I stepped closer. Oh, but I should. See, Justin, I know everything. I know you scammed my parents. I know you ran with the money. And I know Leon Vargas is looking for you. His face went pale. You? That's right, I said, voice cold. You're out of time. He stepped back, eyes darting toward the door. I can fix this. I laughed. Oh, you can fix this? I leaned in. No, Justin, I can fix this. But it's going to cost you. He swallowed hard. What do you want? I pulled out my phone, opening a voice recording app. Confess, I said. Every detail, right here, right now. Justin hesitated. I gave him a wicked smile. Or, I call Leon. Panic flashed in his eyes. He knew I wasn't bluffing. Finally, his shoulders sagged. Fine. He sat down, rubbing his face. Then he started talking. About how he'd manipulated my parents. About the fake investment scheme. About the millions he had stolen. Not just from my family, but from others. And I recorded everything. When he finished, he slumped back. Happy now? I smirked. Almost. Then I dialed a number. Justin's eyes widened. Wait, who are you calling? I held up a finger. Shh. The line clicked. A deep, gravelly voice answered. Who is this? I smiled. Leon Vargas. We need to talk. Justin's face turned to sheer terror. Because now, I held his life in my hands. The line crackled as Leon Vargas answered. Who is this? I locked eyes with Justin, watching the color drain from his face. My name is Marina, I said coolly, and I have something you'll want to hear. A pause. Then Leon's voice dropped lower. I don't take calls from strangers, I smirked. Even if it's about Justin Carter? Silence. Then, where are you? Bingo. I gave him the address, keeping my voice calm. Come alone. We need to talk. Leon chuckled darkly. Oh, sweetheart, I never come alone. The line went dead. I turned to Justin, who was now gripping the arms of his chair like a condemned man. You just called Leon? I shrugged, slipping my phone into my pocket. Sure did. His breath came in sharp, panicked gasps. Marina, you don't understand. If he finds me, I'm dead. I tilted my head. Well, Justin, that's a you problem. I sat across from him, savoring the way his hands trembled. Here's how this is gonna go, I said. Leon's coming. You have two options. You cut a deal, or he deals with you his own way. Justin swallowed hard. What kind of deal? I leaned forward. You wire back every stolen cent. Not just my parents' money. Everything. He scoffed, trying to regain control. And if I don't? I gave him a slow smile. Then Leon gets full custody of you. Justin's lips parted, but no words came. For once in his life, he had nothing to say. An hour later, a sleek black SUV pulled up outside the building. Justin was pacing, sweat dripping down his face. This is insane. You have no idea what you're doing. I checked my nails. Oh, but I do. Heavy footsteps echoed down the hallway. Then, a knock. Justin flinched. I grinned. That's for you. I opened the door. Leon Vargas was exactly what I expected. 6'4", expensive suit. The kind of presence that made a room shrink. 2 men flanked him, but they weren't. Who scared me? Leon's eyes did. Cold. Calculating. Dead inside. He walked in like he owned the place. His gaze landed on Justin. Well, well, well. Justin looked ready to pass out. Leon, I can explain. Leon chuckled, shaking his head. No, you can't. That's why we're here. I crossed my arms. I have something you'll want. Leon turned to me, intrigued. Oh? I held up my phone. A full confession. Names, amounts, bank transfers. Leon's expression didn't change, but I saw a flicker of amusement in his eyes. You recorded this idiot? Justin flinched. Yep, I said. And I have a deal for you. Leon gestured for me to continue. I held my ground. Justin wires everything back to the people he scammed. All of it. Leon chuckled. And what do I get? I smiled. The recordings, his confession. Use it however you want. Leon considered me for a moment. Then, without warning, he reached into his suit. Justin screamed. I didn't move. I knew a power play when I saw one. Leon pulled out a cigar, lit it, smirked. Then he nodded. I like you, Marina. Justin sagged, in relief. I didn't let my face betray anything. Leon took a slow drag from his cigar. Fine. He wires the money back, then I take the confession. Justin's eyes darted between us. Wait, you're giving him the recordings? I glanced at Leon. After the transfer is confirmed. Leon nodded once. Smart girl. Justin opened his laptop, his fingers shaking as he made the transfers. I watched every transaction, $300,000 back to my parents. Another $2.1 million to other victims. When it was done, I turned to Leon. It's yours? I tossed him my phone. He caught it, inspecting the screen before slipping it into his pocket. Justin exhaled shakily. So, we're done? Leon smiled. Oh, Justin. My stomach twisted. Something in his tone was wrong. You don't think, I came all this way just to let you walk away, do you? Justin's face went white. But, Leon's men grabbed him. He screamed. I shot to my feet. Wait. Leon held up a hand. Relax. A deal's a deal. The money's returned. I'm not killing him. Justin struggled. Then, what are you? Leon smiled. You stole from very dangerous people. Justin, he turned to me. And I don't think Marina wants to be involved in what happens next. He was right. I met Justin's wide, terrified eyes. He opened his mouth, but I walked past him. I had everything I needed. Let him deal with his own mess. Leon gestured for his men to take Justin away. Before I walked out, he called after me. Hey, Marina. I turned. Leon smirked. If you ever need a job, call me. I forced a smile. I think I'll pass. Then I walked away, leaving Justin to whatever fate awaited him. 3 days later. Serena called me. Marina, she whispered. Justin's gone. I froze. What do you mean gone? They never found him, she said shakily. Leon's people said they just let him go. A chill ran down my spine. No body, no evidence, just gone. I hung up, staring at my reflection in the window. For the first time in my life, I was free. Justin was out of my life. My parents were repaid, and I had won. But deep down, I knew I'd never forget Leon's smile, or the way Justin's voice cracked when he begged me not to leave, because even though I'd walked away, I wasn't sure if I was the hero or the villain. 3 days had passed since Justin vanished. The money had been returned. My name was clear. My parents, broke and humiliated, had no choice but to face the consequences of their own greed. And yet, as I sat in my apartment in Meridian City, sipping my morning coffee, I felt anything but peace. I had won. So why didn't it feel like it? My phone buzzed. Another unknown number. I ignored it. Then another. And another. Finally, I picked up. Hello? Silence. Then, You really thought it was over? I nearly dropped the phone. The voice was distorted, but I knew who it was. Justin, my stomach clenched. You're supposed to be dead? A low chuckle. That's what Leon wanted you to believe. I gripped the edge of my desk, my pulse racing. Where are you? That's the fun part, Marina. His voice was eerily calm. I could be anywhere. I swallowed hard. What do you want? He exhaled slowly. Do you know why Leon let me go? I stayed silent. Because I made a better deal, Justin said. I gave him something more valuable than a confession. And in return, he let me walk. A cold knot formed in my chest. What did you give him? Another chuckle. That's for you to figure out. My blood ran cold. Justin had played us, all of us. You're lying, I said, my voice sharper than I felt. I guess you'll find out soon enough. His tone was mocking. Enjoy your victory, Marina. The line went dead. I stood there, my breath shaky. Had I just handed everything to Leon on a silver platter? I needed answers. I called Devin, my PI contact, and asked him to dig into Leon's recent movements. An hour later, he called back. Got something, he said. Leon's been meeting with some interesting people. My stomach flipped. Define interesting. High-level investors. The kind of people who don't just lose money. They erase whoever takes it. I rubbed my forehead. And Justin? Off the grid. No accounts, no phone records. It's like he disappeared. I closed my eyes. That's exactly what he wants. Devin hesitated. You think he set something up? I clenched my jaw. I think we all walked into his game. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every step of my so-called victory. Leon had gotten what he wanted. Control. Justin had gotten what he wanted. Freedom. And me? I had just opened the door for something. Worse, because Justin was alive. And knowing him, he wasn't done playing. A week later, an envelope appeared at my door. No return address, just my name typed in bold. I hesitated before opening it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. You made the wrong move, Marina. This isn't over. No signature, no explanation, but I didn't need one. I knew exactly who sent it. Justin wasn't just alive, he was watching. And somehow, he was still winning. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.